Aloha and welcome, spiritual seekers. Today is Wednesday, June 22nd, 2016. We are broadcasting live from the studio of Honolulu Church of Light in Honolulu, Hawaii. The topic for discussion today, the source of our soul origin. Where did you come from? Where did I come from? Carol.com, signaturecellhealing.com, and HonoluluChurchofLight.com is all about serving we the people to heal on all four bodies during this great shift in consciousness. This healing opportunity is brought to you by the passion of Kaku Fred Sterling, founder of Signature Cell Healing, and he's also a master long distance healer and a master teacher of Signature Cell Healing. He, like us, came to participate in this great shift in consciousness. Kaku Fred Sterling is also the exclusive medium for Master Guide Kirill, a guardian for developing society from the seventh dimension. Kaku and Kirill have a long history of working together in educating and awakening humanity to new levels during this great shift in consciousness. And I think in the past months, is all the topics that we've brought to you folks was all about how to age our souls. We as spiritual seekers are in truth looking to age our soul, right? Through healing, that's what we're all about. Anyway, I'm Patty Athena Sterling, co-host for this program. Please take a deep prana breath and help me welcome Kaku Fred Sterling.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Are you going to reveal your soul origin today?
I don't think so.
Well, we're not ready for
Maybe I'm not ready for it. We just did this thing yesterday in Russian. We did this prelim to this whole process to get Master Carolyn to talk about what he wants to talk about. So when he comes into this journey in conscious creators, he's really ready to go. I can tell you this though, I'm more ready than he is right now. I'm a little froggy this morning. I didn't sleep much last night, that's all right. Master Kirill has shared some things that right now we're talking about what we're going to do next month. We've got to plan this thing out a month in advance, basically, right? Patty's been pushing me for some time to do something about iKiril. It's something we did a long time ago when Reverend Carol was here. And some of you have already got the iKiril CD. And I listened myself last night. And I can tell you this, it was such a pleasure to listen to because he's so smooth and eloquent. And he's just beautiful. Anyway, stay here where we are now, because you were saying I can tell you this much, my origins doesn't exist anymore, you know that.
where your light originated.
Yeah, my first life beyond anything here in this system, right? It was a planet called Arius, and
Is it a planet or a star system? I don't know.
as a planet. Well, I don't know this. Master Kirill could tell you more about it than I could, because I was a young baby when I blew off this whole process. Really what happened to me was, and this, what we're talking about is that all of us, at some time or another, lived on other star systems. And it becomes so clear to me right now. With what you can tell what happened to you, right?
Well, yesterday, Master Carol told the Russian audience that we spiritual seekers are all extraterrestrials.
Mm-hmm.
Now I said, wow, really? But I think for myself, I know, you gave me a lifetime in Lemuria, and you finally revealed. I was never really interested in it, except for that I was a goddess. And then,
Let's talk about your goddess thing for just a moment. I'm going to interview you today. All right?
okay,
Because I'm going to talk to you about this goddess. We were coming down, we had to go downtown before we came here today, and you saw something on a billboard at the Blaisdell Arena, which is our big arena over here,
our concert hall.
a concert hall. What did you see?
Say a symphony, this Hawaii, I think Hawaii Symphony, I think it's called, and it's dedicated to the goddesses. The goddess light. I go, whoa, that's so cool.
Now, if you know Patty at all, if you don't, that's right. If you know her at all, she will talk to you about goddess in a heartbeat, because she did this whole thing for the last, how many, 10 years or so of going around the world, breaking through the matrix hooks in this whole process.
Undoing the matrix.
That's right. But now what she just found out was basically you were probably the one that really brought him with this whole journey to put him into the hooks,
Right.
the hooks in this earth plane.
So that makes sense because, one of my origins was, my life in Lemuria. I came in in the last phase. There were 3 phases: first life, common times, and transition times. And I came in the last phase.
Yeah, he said, Master Kyo said you were in the last phases of this whole journey.
The last phase.
So
yeah.
you were 5th dimensional.
Yeah.
Now, Gail has this 5th dimensions coming in here to do the healings for her right now.
Right.
From
Arthurian.
Arteria. Arthurians. She got these little 5 foot or 4 foot.
They're short.
Yeah. So are you, Venus?
Yeah.
Oh my God, maybe from Australia. Anyway, you were 5th dimensional when you came onto the planet. So you didn't go through this thing for the first lives and the midlives and the transition times. That is the most amazing thing I've ever understood about you. And what are you doing back here? You come to this earth plane, you get a parent in the Philippines, and within you're 5 years old, you're leaving the Philippines, you're on board on a ship, and your mother's not doing well. I don't want to embarrass you, but your mother's not doing well at all, and your little baby sister is how old was Sue at that time?
Maybe 1.
1 year old. Anyway, so Patty is on this rocky old ship. That's a long time ago. She's old, but she's on this rocking back and forth, and everybody's throwing up, and she has to cuddle her mother because she's going to die in this whole process.
Yeah, she had a severe case of seasickness.
Yeah, and her little sister over there, and all these guys walking around. It was not a cruise ship or any stretch of imagination. All these guys walking around, and she was about 5 years old, I guess you were 5.
Yeah.
So how did you get into that to get over here? Because you had to get to Hawaii, right?
I had to get to Hawaii.
Now think about this, because you came into this earth plane to your parents, Filipino parents, knew them both, and very lovely people. And Max was working on a freighter, and your mother was doing whatever she's going to do. But understand this thing. They had to get you over here to meet with me. And understand this thing. In the write-up, I wrote in here that I was born in New York, in a little town in New York. And for the first 18 years, I was a New Yorker. But after that 18 years, I got drafted in the Army, went certain places, and wound up here in Hawaii. And it was so invigorating to me. I fell in love with this process. When I got here, all the guys that in the Army were saying, you were not gonna like this. You won't be go crazy. It's so confining. And so, wow, this sounds terrible, right? But I really loved it. And this might have been your first trip to this earth plane. And can you imagine?
Since the Lemuria?
No, I know you had a lifetime here too.
Oh, okay.
Because I know Master Jesus had something with you going. You had something going with Master Jesus, but that's another journey in itself. But after coming off this when you came into the earth plane, into the great continent of Lemuria, and there you are to put the hooks up. You got the goddesses. They came in with you, and they started going out around the world. and placing these hooks, these matrix hooks, so we could get this new system in, let the Lemurian sink under the water, because we knew it was going down anyway, right? So let's sink under the water. And at some point, I don't know how you did it or whatever, but
Yeah.
you got these hooks into this journey, and this hooked the matrix energy down to this, so you get another segment of people on this whole process.
Yeah. So yes, when I think about it, I go, what? Little old me?
Hello, you.
Little old me did all that with all my goddess sisters. But, when I think about it, it frees me from being just human, and all my life in this lifetime. And I always seemed to be angry. But I really didn't know why I was angry, and perhaps I was angry at myself because of I couldn't find the love that I was seeking. I couldn't find it in the church. I couldn't find it in my family unit. And, it was really, really interesting. And so when you told me about that, before Master Guide Kirill has started to guide us, these group of 7 goddesses to go around the world to release the hooks that we planted.
7 goddesses?
7 goddesses. And that's when I found, I started finding the love that I felt was true love
In here, right?
in my heart. Yeah.
Yeah. See, all this time you've looked for all these things in the world to find your love, and you were struggling. I'll give you a reading, no charge,
Okay.
no charge.
No charge.
But all this time you were struggling, this high school and college, and got a job, and so on and so forth, and you were always trying to find the people that you couldn't find the people that would love you back.
Yeah.
Because you weren't looking for their love, but you were looking for your own love. And you had this mask on your body process that wouldn't let you hear it until this guy came from the mainland, cute little guy I am. But, understand, but I put you through some stuff too myself, right?
Of course.
But what you have to understand is we just came back from Las Vegas. That's almost 2 years now, right back?
A year and a half.
Year and a half. Anyways, we're back from Vegas. It's home, and that's the end of it. Prior to that, we were going to Russia and some other places right now. But all this stuff, you couldn't find love, period, at any of these places. In Vegas, there's no... So if you live in Las Vegas, it's a little hard to find love in Las Vegas because of the manufacture of this whole process, what gambling and all the things that go with gambling. But there's some love in there because the people of Hawaii went over there and put the love into it.
But you know what I learned while living in Vegas? The story is that I finally realized that for me, I was waiting for other people to show me love. But it was not that. It was for me to open my heart to them, and then they return that love. And so you talk the people that we encountered, and I finally realized that, the people were full of love there. They're really when they feel safe. And that's my journey as well. When I feel safe, that I can open my heart to the people. But now I know it's for me. If I, as a spiritual seeker, this is what I must do. Yeah, don't you think? This is because that to better, what you, Kahu, and Kirill, Honolulu Church of Light, and Kirill.com and SignatureCellHealing.com. It's all about healing back into our own love. And so I must be the brave one to open my heart to other people, right?
Not really. I don't think so. I mean, you're gonna have to up a little bit, but if I could guide you in any way, shape, or form, I would guide you to continue to open up your heart. Just let it out.
Yeah.
And don't look for people to come and get it because it's too strong for them. I can tell you this. Wait, I'm telling you serious. If you are what you say you are, what Master Kirill said you didn't say it, Master Kyo said, you in there into the fifth dimensional being. Can you imagine what it must be like to be a fifth dimensional being? I've been to the fourth dimension myself now, quite often. I go there every night. Not every night, but quite a few nights a week. But I know I've run into some people that have transcended off to this earth plane and not coming back to the earth plane. They've proceeded into this new fourth dimensional energies. But I can tell you this, you can tell they love just by their appearance and their presence. You can feel, when I look at this person over there, I'm not necessarily Reverend Carol because she's still kind of young, but the people that I've recognized over there, and I see them, the energy comes off of them so inviting. You just want to hug them. You don't want to kiss them, live lock and make love and blah, blah, blah. They just want to hug them. It's so beautiful. So what I'm telling you right now, if you were, in fact, you were a spirit of light that came into and embodied yourself in a body process.
And everyone out there has done the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
No?
No. Maybe not. I'm talking about you. See, that's how she just sneaks out. Oh, the people this. I'll let you go. Because understand this thing. As a fifth dimensional being, and you come into this airplane and you go through this thing with your mother in the Philippines, coming over here into the Hawaii, meeting with me at 18, 19 years old, you were just a baby. But I can tell you, you have to be love starved, basically, because you came out of the fifth dimension to come back to all the way back to the third dimension. And that's got to be horrendous. I mean, beyond horrendous.
That's an interesting statement. You say love starved,
Mm-hmm.
but you are right, because I couldn't find the love that I was looking for. But now I'm getting there.
Now, if you do relate to what she's saying, understand what she's doing, what happened? Okay, you're right there. If you do relate to what she's saying, starve for love is not a hard journey to understand. It really isn't. We got a call?
Wait. Can I make this?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
While removing a matrix hook in Sedona, Arizona, I never really believed in extraterrestrials. Sorry, but that was some years back, or I was afraid to believe in them. But with my experience there, being lifted into a so-called craft and fighting, guess who? Master Jesus. And when I saw him, I said to him, well, he didn't look like the Master Jesus that's pictured in the Catholic
All
Church.
those pictures
He didn't look like that. And he was like really tall, and he wore this awesome robe of like a sky blue iridescent. And then I immediately knew that it was him, the Christ light. I said, I've been looking for you all my life. And I cried and I cried and I cried, and then that crying filled my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had to come back down, it was like, oh no, I don't want to come back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to stay where he was. But unfortunately I had to come back because I have more hooks to remove. So why, if you out there, you spiritual thinker, why is it important to source your soul origin as to get yourself out of the box, so to speak, to understand you're more than human? And that's the gift that I received, because I always, when you come up with a topic for the month, I ponder it all month long before spiritual critique. I said, and I asked myself, why do people need to know this?
And what's your answer?
And to expand your spirit, the spiritual life.
Maybe she's saying, maybe you could learn to love again. Gail, you have somebody on a phone call?
Ooh, a question.
Okay.
Chat.
All
Chat
right.
room.
Chat room. I love chat rooms.
Okay, we got to Kelly. She
Hi.
asked, blessings and love to you, Kahu and Patty Athena. Would you please speak to the journeys that brought us all to the earth plane to participate with you and Master Guide Kirill? Is there a common thread? Is there a common theme or thread that has brought us all together into this community?
Wow.
Yes.
I can tell you this thing to Kelly. I'm going to say this right off the top of my head because I've been doing some things the last few days that it makes perfect sense. I did this Russian journey yesterday, listened to the Kirill tape recording last night, and I can tell you this. Master Kirill is a great master. I guarantee he's a great master beyond your wildest expectations. He just recently, I don't know if he told you, I'm sure you've heard of it, but Master Kirill said that he's working towards getting to the 8th dimension. The 8th dimension, my God, you can't even understand the 7th dimension. He's going to go to the 8th dimension. And when he said something to me yesterday, or a couple of days ago, he said in my meditation, he said, I really want to get out of this thing. I said, what do you mean you want to get out of the 7th dimension? I want to get through this earth process because I get through this. If I get this thing right, you get it right. He says, you get it right. Like he was going to scold me, you know. You get it right. Okay, I promise you, I'll get it right. I promise. But he said, to Kelly, you got to listen to me. He said, when he gets to the 8th dimension, he becomes a pure God. What's a pure God? The Guardian of Developing Societies, right? Guardians of Developing Society. Guardians, G-O of the Developing Societies, gods. Becomes a pure God. And he gets in this, I guess a world of his own, basically. And he sits in this thing where you go into the 3rd dimension and 4th dimension, 5th dimension, and 6th dimension. And he sits this whole process, the very subtle, you talk about the thing here, like the 8 on the side.
Oh, okay. The infinity sign.
Yeah, he sits in the very center of this whole process.
Yeah.
He's really stoked by this whole process. I can tell you that. So, to Kelly, what I'm going to tell you right now.
What brought us up? What brought us together?
Yeah,
All of you.
I believe me. I'm going to tell you this, and I'll get a little red face, so I don't want to do it too much. But I think I had to come to Hawaii to help Patty get through this whole process of getting these hooks unhooked, and now I'm kind of free to do what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to do another iKiro really soon, maybe next month. Not this month because we got this journey right here to get through. You get through this journey right here because I know you'll be here, but you're saying to me, what has been the causation for all of us to keep coming together, whether it's me or Master Kirill or to Kelly, or you've been trying to do this whole journey for a very long time. You've had some success, some unsuccesses, but you've really kept trying. Doing the 550, and I think you're going to make it really soon. If you're not there already, I haven't talked to you in quite a while, but maybe I think you get really close to your whole journey. But understand this, my whole journey has been about not blowing my own horn. I never blow my own horn. I just come in here, I do these healings, I heal these people come in here, I lay the hands, I go through this thing, I get this new thing called a 5-breath meditation, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. But understand this thing, I have never done anything to toot my horn, and that'll never change. But understand why. Because people have literally come into this earth plane to toot their horn, and they didn't have anything to toot their horn with. I've got Master Kirill, and I've got my body process.
Well,
And that's the key.
yeah, and I think too, what brought us all together and what keeps us seeking our spiritual light, our spiritual origin, is this great shift in consciousness. Mm-hmm. And but we still have, as spiritual being having a human experience, we are still subject to the yin and yang realities, and that's what's hard sometimes, and I know when you first started, people used to say, "Hey, if you're in the spiritual people with working in the spiritual world should not be charging." And I used to believe that too. That was a long time ago. But I understand now that money is an energy exchange, and we need it to live here.
I can tell you this there were a lot of healings recently.
Mhm.
And it's been a journey with her and myself, because she does a lot of the paperwork at the end. And well, she goes on this whole journey. But I've learned so much from these healings. I really believe, no, I'm not going to say it. I was going to say I should be paying to do these things, but I really don't need to, but I can tell you, I got 2 or 3 of them this last week, 3 or 4. Anyway, a bunch of them coming in this 1 week. And all of a sudden I got to go do the healings, and then I have to wait. It doesn't just come, it's a natural thing to wait to get the answers. So you come in for a healing, you'll feel it, you can feel it, I guarantee you can feel it. And then within 7 or so days, I get this download of stuff and start writing it, and I give it to her and I said, I don't know if it makes any sense, but clean it up. And she spends one day per write-up, a whole day. And she's in it. She comes out, she's exhausted.
I get in a zone in that energy, which I love. But when I come out of that zone, it's like, oh, it's so draining. But I love doing it. But the thing is, how your long distance healing work, that of course people have to pay for it. The first night you spend like at least a half an hour healing them, and then the next like 7 nights or so, 5 to 7 nights, you go in there and you see whether their selves are accepting the light, and when you know that they can heal. Right?
I
That's
talk
how
to
it
the
is.
higher selves.
Yeah.
And they give me the things I'm going to write, and it's so empowering. And I wish everybody could do them, because it's really empowering. If you want to call, you just get on Gail Jan's chat room in there and give us a question, any kind of question, Patty or myself. Understand this thing. You may not want to hear it, but she's getting her legs under her pretty well right now. Sometimes a little bit more on her legs. She's flying, but she's doing a great job with what we're doing right now, because she's holding this whole journey to a certain level of understanding.
Well, since you revealed to me that I was a 5th dimensional being in Lemuria time, and came back here to unravel help unravel. It's not just all of me, unravel the hooks. And I feel at peace now. I'm healing the anger, but in the anger that I didn't really understand where it came from. Do we have a question?
Gail?
I have a comment.
Comment. I love comments.
This is from Julius.
Julius, that's the healing I just did?
So
I just healed. Okay, go ahead.
Can I say this to Kahu from my daughter? She can see energy, and she said she had never seen such a clear energy before that you have when you channel Master Kirill. She said to me, Father, he really knows what he is doing. Kahu Fred and Kirill is the real deal. Had to tell him.
God bless you. Thank you, Julius. That it means much to me, because your daughter, how old is find out how old is that. Because the daughter, I'm a real deal. That makes me very proud, you know. It really does. But I agree with what she's saying. And Julius, I want you to hear what I say. I've been doing this for 30 years as a medium. And I've never got a scrape of any on my body, plus anybody angry with me or anything, period. Not even slightly angry with me or Master Carol. That's 30 years of doing this whole process. And I got to tell you, that's 24? Okay,
Wow.
That's beautiful.
That's a millennium.
That's a millennial, yeah, Julius. Yeah, I can tell you this, what a lovely thing she just said.
It
He
is.
said, it's beautiful.
It is.
But right now, I'm going to go out a little bit further than I have in the past recently, because I really like doing the Curl things a little bit more than I have.
Ooh, that's exciting. Starting next month. Next month is July, which is 7. It's the month of transition, and Kahu will be talking about his role as a medium in Spiritual Seekers next month, right? And a healer. And what's the next step for him?
Okay, now let me just update the because we got to do this right here.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh, sport, no, sport.
Not
Wait, Patty. Sport.
spot.
Sport. That's my niece, my sweet, lovable niece. Anyway, we're gonna do this thing because this is the last of the segments right now before we get to transition. And transition is in the month of July, which is the 7th month, which we're gonna bring iCurl back to the public. But it's gonna be about you having the courage to come up with good questions that you really want to know about, like the Russian people. They did the best they could do, right?
They did the best.
They really did, but they had some good questions. But the questions came down to one lady saying that her husband and her were so she thought they were twin flames, and now they're getting divorced.
Oh, yeah.
No, that shows you.
And they've, which is interesting, you know, and for the Russians, God bless them, because it's always about, you know, how they can fix other people.
Mhm.
Yeah, how they can heal other people. And they don't seem to, maybe we have not made it clear enough for them to understand, hey, you know, it's all about yourself first, loving yourself first before you can put it out.
That's right.
And they're, you know, they have a huge relationship problems there, and it's in their DNA. It's in, you know, what's going on in Russia. But what I always learn from their questions,
Mhm.
because we spiritualists, we get our information from different sources, from different levels of light. But for me, that's another reason why every one of us should understand who we are. And so we can take in the information and ask ourselves, now, is this true for me? You know, instead of everything about what people say about in the spiritual realm cannot always be true for me. And that's what I had to learn. And have the confidence enough to open your heart and say, okay, what do I resonate to?
Well, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, so let's talk about, you got anything? Okay. I really like to talk to the people first and get to the other stuff beyond.
Oh, okay. This question is from Trinity.
Trinity.
She asks, what's our understanding to the original 144,000? She put in parentheses, volunteers? Is that something with the the guardians?
Yeah, it's
in the
guardians,
Veteran
yeah.
Society?
Volunteers for what?
I can tell you, Trinity, I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but the last thing I knew, about 144,000 guides came to the earth plane, have come to the earth plane, and literally stepped into the body processes of being human and working around the world to get the shift in process so we can process through it. And understand this, it's going to be, well, you can tell you right now, look at the weather patterns. If you're in southern middle California, fires around you. Southern California, more fires. The whole West is on fire. The East Coast just recently started to get some warm weather. It's a couple of weeks ago that they had snow or something like that. But it's happening. It's just a fringe of this whole thing is going to happen, and you've got to be prepared for it. So, Trinity, what I think what I wanted to tell you from what I heard you say was, are we ready for this, Master Kira? I'm sorry, Master Kahu. Jesus. Yes, we are ready, because you have to understand this thing. If you're not ready, then you're going to be off the earth plane, basically. And that's not a bad deal. Trust me, it's not a bad deal. But you've got to know, if you're in line with this ship, and I know Trinity's in line with this whole process because she's been asking me questions for months, years now. But I understand her. But the people, she may be one of the 140,000.
Yeah, because she lives. I know she lives in the island of Maui.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and the most beautiful part of Maui. And I said, "Wow, I want to be there." You know.
She ever is there, Haleakala?
No, on the other side.
Oh, the beautiful part. Yeah.
Something.
Oh my.
So she gets to see the stars.
Yeah.
At night.
Beautiful. She lives in a paradise, basically. Anyway, that might be what you were looking for, but if you're not, you might as well get used to it, because that's your job. And I can tell you, with what Kelly said, and a few other people said, talking to me a little bit recently, it's about timing. We've got to get up and do this whole thing. So here it is right now. I want to tell you this. Single cell healing. If you don't want to do it, it's all right. It's totally all right. If you do want to do it, you got to get your mindset, because we're taking it to new levels right now. We'll do some teaching here in Honolulu in September someplace, but we'll do some teaching over here, and I can tell you it's going to be an intensified training. So be prepared, because when I started that, I'll leak it out to this whole system, right? Because the people come in here for this 2 or 3 days, and they'll love it. But I'll be leaking it out to you weeks before and weeks afterwards, because understand this thing. Single cell healing is just single cell healing. 3 words, all it is. That's all it ever be. But beyond that, the single cell healing is the cells of our body process. So Master Kira went to these Russians and said something to this up, that you have your mother's DNA, your father's DNA. You come together, they come together, and where do you come in? You come in to the God creator, the creator force. You're this little God cell. We call it the God cell because I couldn't think of a better word for it. But the God cell is what you start right there in this whole thing. Your mother and father had nothing to do other than to get you into this earth plane so you could be here to ask this question today. Because I can tell you this, the 144,000 guides, guardians, whatever, they are already coming out, and you're starting to feel it. I tell you, you're feeling it because you've just discovered you're a 5th dimensional being, and you're now in a 3rd dimensional body. How confining that must be for you. It must be.
It's hard.
That's right. Hard.
It's hard.
Hard.
And I think a lot of you out there can relate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether you're from areas, a planet that burnt out eons ago.
Yeah, that's my home.
And you know what? If you're from areas, I noticed this about if your soul is from that part. It blew out long time ago. No matter how many people is around you, you could always feel like you're alone.
That's right.
And with Kahu, he was from there. He doesn't like too many people around him.
Sorry.
And me, I love being social. so he and I have to balance our life. He likes being a hermit, and I love to socialize.
Yeah.
So
my first experience was getting into this pod of energy into a craft and taking off from, I don't remember this, but I can know it that, but I saw the pictures of Superman.
oh, you can relate to that
And they
one.
put him in a little pod and they shot him off and he,
And before the planet blew up.
that's right.
Ah,
Yeah, but understand this thing. The planet actually blew up and imploded itself and blew itself out of its orbit, so it can never be found there. And that's very lonely to me to not know, like, you're from Pleiades and Gail.
well, I spent a lifetime in Pleiades.
Number
Yeah.
of them. Number.
Yeah.
But understand, for you now to have gotten all the way to the fifth dimension on one of these planet systems. Now, maybe Pleiades got a group of fifth dimensional beings on it. They're not the ones that come over here to the Earth plane, because they come over here probably at burgeoning fourth dimensional beings, because you have to understand they couldn't come here in the third dimension because it wouldn't work for them. So I can tell you this: when I say I'm I'm not a hermit.
No, you're not lonely.
I'm not.
You're not lonely. You just don't like too many people around you.
Sure. I got this beautiful house on the next mountain over. It's beautiful. I love it. And I'd like to invite you, but you can't fit in there because it's too small. It's a beautiful place. But I can tell you this: the loneliness or the feeling, when I got into this craft to come over to where I'm going to come over here, it was out in the space for like I 2 lifetimes in that spacecraft.
And a lot of teachers come from the areas, right?
That's true. That's right.
Yeah.
Especially the ones I knew, such as the guy that used to channel Arthur Pacheco.
Yeah.
He was Aries person too.
Oh.
Yeah. And
So-
I can't mention the other guy's name, but
So one of these days, somebody will create a chart that says, okay, all the personality traits that goes from, if you are a Syrian or a Dromedan or a Lyrian or a,
the
you
house.
come from-
It comes down to this. It comes down to this simple. Syrians, they're a little angry, a little hardcore. They've been the warriors of the cosmos or our cosmos for a very long time. The Palladians are a little softer, but every bit as powerful as the Syrians.
powerful in love.
In love, that's right. And then you get to your Andromedas, which is the ones that really focused on the world over here called Atlantis. They were the brains and brainiacs of all this whole journey. They were too small. They couldn't get in the fights. And Master Kyo tells everybody. And well, you remember what happened in Japan, right? Japan, they came and when we beat them up, beat them pretty bad. We gave them a book and said, "Go make cars."
They're Syrians, most of them.
No, they're Andromedas.
The Japanese are Andromedans? Wow,
Guaranteed.
interesting.
Now, China up north there, that's all mixes up because they're all Chinese are mixed into this whole
Yeah,
process.
they have different
Yeah.
origins.
Yeah. But the Andromedas were the ones that took Atlantis, put Atlantis on the map over here on the other side of Florida over. And so there's the 3 that we know of that are very prominent within our spaces. So I can tell you this: you can take those 3 things right there and do the 3 of them right there, and you can come, you hit everybody on the Earth plane probably right between the eyes with one of them, because you've all had lives in there.
And you out there might be thinking, okay, how do I know where I come from, where my light source comes from? I think what you can do, I know this, if you're doing it, you're committed to this 5-breath meditation, right? And this 5 breath meditation is really magical because when you know that you're in that so-called groove, in that light groove, in that love groove, you can access other worlds and other information from other worlds. That much I know. Yeah, in love. You got to access them in love.
I can tell you this thing. I won't mention this person's name, but I know this person's an Elven, complete Elven. Get the height, everything. She's from Sirius. Guaranteed, I shouldn't say from Sirius, but guaranteed she spent a lot of time in Sirius because the energy that brought into this earth plane is about warrior energies. She walks big, she talks big, she's just I know she's a full-blown Elven personality, and she's trying to like with you. She's probably been to the 5th dimension, and she come back to this airplane and get to the shift. And she's supposed to be closer to me, but she's wound up in Australia where she needs to be there because that's the major focuses of Lemuria, that beyond where we are right here. But understand this, Master Kyo said in Aikiro, he said. Australia was the mountain peaks further to the south or something like that. That's so powerful.
Well, he said, Master Kyo said, as Lemuria, the Lemurian continent was sinking, Australia broke away from the continent and it didn't sink. So in the middle of the island where Uluru is, you have the pure energy of Lemuria because it hasn't sunk under. Like in Haleakala, from the 9,000 feet level and up, that didn't sink into the water. So that's pure goddess energy. That's where you can feel pure
Anyway,
goddess
I was
energy.
talking about my friend Kelly. She is definitely a pure Elven. And to be being that high up in the Elven race, to come down to this journey of being a 3rd dimensional body process, and
That hurts.
not being with me where she wanted to be with, but she's over there taking care of her places over there. And I can tell you this thing, I can now understand why she's saying what she's saying.
Right.
And you've got to understand, Kelly, you've been a fan of mine or of my work for a long time. You know that. And I can tell you, I feel it, but I can tell you need to be there because that's where it's going to start right there.
Right.
Anyways.
So do you think those people from the Elven, have an Elven connection, have a difficulty in the human world?
Yeah, as close as she is to this whole, a lot of people, Elvens, I think I had a couple of Elven myself, but nothing to speak of. But I can tell you the true Elvens that I've come across over here are like angry and willing to push their way into this whole process because they know what they're doing. They don't know why they're doing it, but they know they got to do it. They got to heal this whole process. So what I said originally was signature cell healing is a form of Elven energies because you've got to be strong to do this. Because I'll tell you this thing, when people come to me and you go this long distance healing or you come for a healing here in this church right now, I can tell you this, I'm not going to be the kindest, most gentle person in the whole wide world. I'm going to tell you what you got to do in order to get you out of this thing. But I tell you this, if you do it the way I say to do it, I've got thousands of people I've cured cancer on. Hundreds and thousands of people that have come through this whole process because of my light. Not my light, but what I've taught them. That's the key.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the key for you right now. But we're the thing, if you're not a spiritual seeker, if you're not consecrated, you should go and join, for God's sakes. Please go join. Because I can tell you this, I haven't told Gail that, I haven't told you officially, but I'm going to give to the conscious creators, so you hear applause there in just a minute. I'm going to give you a copy, a downloadable of iCuro in your email within a week to 10 days from today.
When you sign up.
Well, if you haven't signed up, even if you haven't, if you're a conscious creator, you've already signed up, the 50 or 60 or 70 people in there right now, get in there and get it signed in, because I give you this thing because I want you to be prepared for when I do this thing for iCuro. I want nothing but good, basic, quality questions, like not where I'm from. You tell me where you're from, and I'll verify it or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the perfect journey. And you have to understand this. There's only 3 or 4 places you're going to be for this earth plane. The earth plane has been built around this whole thing with these other planets around it, which is Syria, Pleiades, Andromedas, the Etherians. Now they're a little beyond us because they're 5th dimensional. But those 3 right there, that's going to be one of your focuses is going to be, maybe you had enough lifetimes to scar yourself, but understand this thing. You came here to the earth plane to do this shift in consciousness, and you've got to do it by knowing how to heal. It doesn't have to necessarily be start healing, but you got to know how to heal. And one thing I can tell you this thing, you've got to do the 5 or 50. The 5 or 50 is the only thing you've got to understand. If you want to heal anything, anybody, you've got to do the 5 or 50. And if you're not doing it, and you're part of 5 or 50, you've got to be able to get up tomorrow morning and you're feeling a little better than you were yesterday. And if you get up, and like I get up tomorrow morning and I don't feel much better than you right now, doesn't matter. I'm going to tell myself I do feel a little better. Some part of my body, I guarantee my body is going to be a little bit better, because that's part of the 5 or 50. You've got to start your healing. When you start your healing, you can't quit on it. You can't get tired and just lay down and die, because you're just going to come back up and you wind up back over here to get another body. And geez, don't do that, because just stick it out. That's all I tell you. Like Reverend Carol, she had to go because it's too far away from the ship. She's been gone for 10 years, something like that. 7. That's all. 7 years. That's
10,
right.
at least
That's
10.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, pretty close to 10.
2007.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Reverend Carol was started with us from the very,
All the way
very
back to the
beginning.
beginning of
Yeah.
Baratania Street, for God's sakes. Yeah. Anyway, she is one of those people I healed. I healed her cancerous uterus. She had a lump that's coming out of her body right here, like this. This body.
That you could
there.
feel
You
it.
could feel it. You can see it right there. And I healed it, completely gone. Miracles. The doctors were just screaming, I want to hear it, don't hear it, just do it, keep doing it. And then she got it on the other side. And the story goes on, I got that one out. Then she got breast cancer. Oh my God. I got this one out. She had over here 4 times. Finally, we just read it. You got to go home, Carol. You just got to go home. And basically, she just checked into the hospice and she didn't die for about a week or 10 days. And finally, they were going to kick her out. She said, well, I can't do it anymore, Carol. I got to go. And she was gone. But understand this thing. This lady taught me what I'm teaching you right now today. You have to have the courage to keep going. And when you lose the courage, just go home. That's all right. But don't cry on your way out. Don't go out of here blatting because you didn't get it done. Maybe you came to do what you're going to do and it's done. That's all right too. But understand this thing. You can never take your life. You can never take your life. That's the key. You can never take your life. And that's where we had to get to Reverend Carol. And it's all right now. We're done.
So, in a nutshell,
And
everything can be healed, right?
everything can and will be healed.
And if you do the journey, it's not really about instant healing anymore, especially for spiritual seekers, because we all know as spiritual seekers that we are here to heal past lives. That's embedded in our cellular memories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
Is Julius, is he a conscious creator? Do you know?
so, yeah, that's why we're here. Kahu, what Kahu and Master Kirill does is, what you ignite the flame within people,
Mhm.
and then, but we have to keep the flame going,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
So,
All right. I think it's been a good program.
hey, any more questions? No.
She's getting some information from
He
me.
said he is 12 months now.
Cool. So these programs,
Done.
like Spiritual Seekers and Conscious Creators, is to help us spiritual seekers move out of the box of being human and to understand our the
I want to
wholeness.
give him something, what he just shared with me, his daughter said. But he's already a conscious creator. That's why I was going to give him 1 month free. Conscious creator, which gets him right in July. Be perfect. But anyway, I'll think of something, Julius. I swear to God, I'll think of something that'll make you real happy.
So in the meantime, you know what? You guys can start, keep prana breathing, the 5-breath meditation, healing meditation.
5 breaths.
And ask your guidance. Where are you from?
I guarantee if you do this for the next 7 days, now, I don't know what 7 days, because Master Kirill 7,
Yeah.
but 7 days before we get to this next program, be already done off this other, but understand this thing. Within 7 days, you will get one of those 3 planets or more, but
Here's another question that you can ask. If you're suffering from a disease or, that's congenital or otherwise, you can, in your meditation, the 5-breath meditation, ask, where is the origin of this disease coming from? I did that. And it made a whole world of difference for me, especially with my, my eczema, and it's healing because I knew where the origin was. Does that make sense? So do that, and then ask, when you get an answer, come back next week and ask for confirmation with Master Guide Kirill. Can they do that?
You start channeling.
Huh?
You start channeling.
Why? No.
Okay.
Not doing that.
Okay.
Okay, so you got your homework? Their homework
That's
next week.
Yeah. No, not next week. We're going to do Conscious Creators next week, next month. for
Yeah,
July.
the source of your soul
Yeah,
origin.
I'm talking July.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm tired. You tired?
Yeah.
All right, God bless you, everybody, and understand this. We talk about 5-breath meditation. It is this simple. If you got anything going on in your life, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual, any one of those things in your life, that's your whole life, right? If you got anything going on, it's banging against the wall, take the 5-breath meditation, take it seriously. You've seen it enough, you see me do it enough times, here, do it enough times, you'll begin to heal. Guaranteed. I shouldn't guarantee, but I'm telling you.
No, it is a guarantee if they do the 5 or 50. That includes, meditating, prana breathing, lighting the 7 trillion cells in your body every morning and every night. And that is what we need to do during these great shifts in consciousness. Because
I just yawned.
okay.
Oh, God bless y'all. Have a
Rahu has to
great
go to
time.
sleep now.
God bless you.
So we'll
and
see
thank you.
you next week.
And my love out to all of you. Aloha.
Aloha.